The mansion in coastal California shimmered under the late afternoon sun. Glass windows catching firelight gold, laughter echoing through manicured gardens. To everyone else, it was just a reunion. Cousins, wine, music, and family photos. But to Amaya, it was the stage of her husband's undoing. She'd spent weeks pretending not to know, not to see the glances between Jace and the nanny. Isabel, a quiet, doe-eyed woman hired to care for their daughter, Olive. Amaya had seen the text messages, the late-night work calls, the lipstick smudge on his collar. And yet she waited for this day. Tonight, every member of the family was here. Her parents, Jace's brother River, his friend Emiliano, all gathered under fairy lights that made the evening feel almost holy. But beneath that glow, something dark pulsed. Amaya smiled, too perfectly, as she poured champagne for the guests. Her red dress caught the light, silk whispering around her legs. Jace brushed past her, hand grazing her back, whispering, "You look amazing, babe." She forced a smile. "Thanks, love. Don't lose that charm tonight. You'll need it." He chuckled, thinking she was flirting. He had no idea she was hours away from tearing his world apart. Across the lawn, Isabel stood beside the pool, her summer dress fluttering. She looked nervous, eyes darting toward Jace, then back down. Amaya noticed everything, every breath, every stolen look. After dinner, as the family gathered for speeches, Amaya slipped into the house. The air felt colder inside, heavier. She walked straight to the guest room where Isabel had been staying. The sheets were too neat. The drawer, locked. She knew better. She opened the hidden camera app on her phone, the one she'd secretly placed 2 days earlier. A video loaded. The image shook slightly, and then froze on Jace. He was standing too close to Isabel, whispering something, smiling the same smile he once gave Amaya. Her chest tightened, but her eyes didn't water. They burned. She downloaded the clip. Then walked back outside, calm, precise, like a woman who'd just written her own ending. "Everyone," Amaya said, her voice bright as crystal, "can I have your attention?" The music faded. People turned, even Jace, confused but smiling. "I just wanted to thank you all for being here," she continued. "Family means everything, doesn't it?" A few nods, soft laughs. "And since we're family," she said, clicking her phone, "I think you all deserve to see what's been happening in our family." The garden lights dimmed as the poolside projector flickered on. The screen lit up, grainy footage of Jace and Isabel in the guest room. A collective gasp cut through the air. Jace froze, color draining from his face. Isabel dropped her glass. It shattered. "Amaya, what the hell?" "Shh." Her tone sliced through him. "Let's finish the movie, shall we?" The footage played. A kiss. Then silence. Then chaos. Jace lunged toward her, face pale. "You recorded us?" "You recorded our vows once," she said coldly. "I guess I wanted a sequel." Laughter, nervous disbelieving, rippled through the guests. River grabbed Jace's shoulder, muttering, "Man, what did you do?" But Amaya wasn't finished. She pulled another file onto the screen. Financial documents, hidden transfers. "By the way," she added, voice steady, "this isn't just about cheating. It's about stealing." Every eye turned to Jace. She continued, "My dear husband has been using my father's company account to fund weekend getaways for his lover." The silence was crushing. Even the waves in the distance seemed to pause. Then came the sound of a chair scraping, Emiliano stepping forward, eyes burning. "You've just buried yourself, Jace," Jace snapped. He grabbed Amaya's wrist. "You set me up!" His voice cracking. She stared straight into his eyes. "No, Jace, you set yourself up. I just turned the lights on." Her father's security team moved in, pulling him back. Cameras caught every moment, every scream, every face twisted in shock. And as he was dragged away, Amaya stood still, heart steady, smile sharp. The night air carried her whisper like smoke. You thought I'd never find out. You forgot who you married. That night, the video went viral online, leaked by someone at the party. Within hours, wife exposes husband S affair with the nanny at family reunion became the most shared clip in California social feeds. But Amaya wasn't done. The affair was just the surface. The storm didn't end when the live stream did. It only got louder. Outside the Manhattan podcast studio, news vans screamed their headlines into the night. Reporters shoved microphones toward anyone who even looked like they knew Sabrina. Camera flashes painted the rain in white bursts. Sabrina stepped out, black umbrella cutting her from the chaos, but their words still found her. Sabrina, is it true? How long did he cheat? Are you divorcing Jose? She didn't answer. She didn't flinch. She just walked, through the storm, through the whispers, toward the car where Azalea waited. Azalea's eyes were fierce. You set the internet on fire, she whispered as Sabrina slid in. Jose exposed is trending #1 worldwide. Sabrina exhaled, her hands trembling not from fear, but release. For years, she had carried this perfect image like a silk noose. Tonight, she cut it. Meanwhile, Jose's phone was a graveyard of missed calls, brands, sponsors, their manager, and Robert. The show that had made them untouchable had now turned them radioactive. Robert banged on Jose's apartment door. Open up, man! Jose opened it, unshaven, eyes wide. Do you even realize what she did to us? Robert grabbed him by the shoulders. She didn't do this. You did. We both did. His voice cracked. For the first time, the smooth confidence was gone. Jose slammed his fist on the counter. We can fix this, Robert barked a laugh. Fix what? Millions saw that footage. It's everywhere, Jose. You turned our lives into a scandal reel. In the corner, the TV played Sabrina's old clips, the perfect couple moments. Jose switched it off like killing a ghost. Back at Sabrina's place, Azalea and Sylvia huddled around the glowing laptop screen. Comments, hashtags, talk shows. The story was spreading like wildfire. Sylvia whispered, You've become a symbol overnight. Sabrina raised an eyebrow. A symbol? Yes, Azalea added. Every woman who's ever been humiliated in silence is watching you right now. You didn't just expose him. You shifted the power. But Sabrina's mind was already 2 steps ahead. Exposure was just phase 1. Jose had built his image on her. Now she would tear that foundation apart, piece by piece. She leaned forward. We're not done. At Jose's penthouse, Robert paced like a caged animal. We should go live. Give our side. Jose stared at the skyline, hands shaking. Our side doesn't matter. No one wants the villain's version. Then the door clicked open. Jackson walked in, soaked and furious. You idiots just nuked our entire network. Sponsors are bailing, advertisers freezing. This isn't a scandal. This is a mass extinction of everything we built. Jose snapped. We can turn it around. Jackson moved closer, his voice cold. She owns the narrative now, and the media loves a betrayed woman more than a lying man. The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. At midnight, Sabrina sat alone in the quiet glow of her living room. She replayed the moment Jose froze on live camera, the exact second his mask cracked. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Jose's voice came through, raw. Why did you have to do it like that? Sabrina's lips curved. Because you hurt me like that. Quietly, publicly, repeatedly. He didn't speak, so she continued. You built a fake empire, Jose. I'm just handing back the crown you forged from lies, he whispered. You're destroying me. Sabrina's tone didn't shake. No, I'm just giving you the microphone you loved so much. She hung up. Across town, Robert poured himself a drink, hands shaking. She's going to ruin everything. Jose stared at the wall. She already did. But Robert didn't notice the shadow in the doorway. Jackson, watching, listening, calculating. He wasn't loyal to either of them. He was loyal to power. And now, power was shifting. The next morning, the house felt like a battlefield I could see, but no one else could. Every creak in the floorboards, every shadow stretched long across the walls, whispered that the world outside had started closing in. I didn't wait for Jace to make a move. I knew he would, but this time I would strike first. Isabel sat stiffly at the kitchen table, laptop open, documents glowing like a map to the enemy. "He knows by now," she whispered, voice trembling. "They always know sooner than you think." I didn't answer. I just traced my finger across the spreadsheets, memorizing accounts, dates, every pattern, every loophole. Jace had built a fortress of lies and money, but I had found the cracks. By noon, I heard tires on the driveway. My pulse quickened. Through the blinds, I saw the black SUV parked outside, engine running, tinted windows hiding its occupants. Two men stepped out, their movements measured, predatory. They weren't delivery drivers. They weren't neighbors. They were here for control, and they weren't asking politely. I turned to Isabel. "Lock the doors. No one goes out. Nothing leaves." She obeyed immediately, her hands shaking but precise. I didn't wait for confrontation. I pulled Jace into the kitchen before he had a chance to see the men. He looked surprised, almost smug, until he saw the projector still casting his crimes across the walls. The documents, the screenshots, the dates, every lie exposed, glowed like flames ready to consume him. "Amaya, this isn't fair," he said, voice rising. "You don't understand what's happening outside." I leaned in close, eyes cold, steady. "I understand perfectly. You've dragged my family into danger. Now you either fix it or you burn with it." Outside, the men circled the SUV. One spoke into a radio, and I caught a snippet. "Target inside. Confirm visual. Move in." My stomach tightened. Isabel gasped, clutching my arm. I held her hand firmly. "Stay calm. We are in control here, no matter what they think." Jace tried to laugh, a desperate hollow sound. "They'll make you regret this," he said. I smiled, bitter and sharp. "I've been regretting letting you think you could hide in my house for 2 years. Now the world sees the truth." Then the SUV doors slammed open. 2 figures strode up to the front porch, their steps heavy, confident, and dangerous. Isabel's hand froze in mine. I didn't flinch. I opened the front door, eyes locked on the approaching men. "You've come for my husband," I said. "You'll leave with him, not with me or my family." The taller man smirked. "We're here for the money trail, not your theatrics. Step aside." I didn't. I stepped forward, shoulders straight, voice calm but carrying iron. "You want the money trail? Look at this." I gestured at the wall of documents, projected proof of every transfer, every offshore account, every fraudulent charity. "It's all here. Copy it, trace it, use it, but don't touch my family." The men paused, scanning the evidence, their smirk fading. Jace's face went pale. He understood for the first time that I wasn't just a woman scorned. I was a threat with precision and reach. Then a shot of fear tore across his expression as his phone buzzed. "Unknown number. Text. They know your name too. Move carefully." Jace's lips parted, but no sound came out. I felt a grim satisfaction. He had built a tower of secrets, and every brick was now in my hands, shaking under the weight of exposure. The men finally backed away, their eyes flicking to the laptop, to me, to Jace. "We'll be back," one said, voice low, dangerous. "Make sure he's ready." They disappeared into the SUV, engine growling like a beast retreating into the night. I closed the door, heart hammering, but the clarity was absolute. Jace was trapped, his network exposed, his protectors scared, and for the first time I felt the power shift entirely. Isabel exhaled, trembling but relieved. We did it. For now. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The truth had become a living thing in that house, a force neither Jace nor his men could ignore. I walked to the window, looking out at the fading headlights, and whispered to myself, "This isn't over. Not yet." Because I knew the next move would come at night, silent, dangerous. And when it did, I would be ready. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was hunting. The night arrived like a predator, slow, silent, and suffocating. I hadn't slept. My eyes had tracked every shadow, every faint sound, every creak of the old wooden floors. Isabel hovered nearby, laptop at her side, her fingers poised as if ready to type the world into submission. Outside, the wind whispered through the olive trees, carrying the faint hum of an engine, familiar, menacing. I didn't need to guess who it was. Jace's men had returned, and this time, they weren't asking for proof. They were taking it, and anyone who stood in their way would pay. I leaned against the counter, tracing my finger along the projected documents, memorizing every account number, every transfer, every secret he had thought buried. A sudden knock on the front door froze us both. My heart didn't skip. It steadied. I had anticipated this. I moved to the door, eyes narrowing. Through the peephole, two silhouettes loomed, casual yet deliberate, every movement controlled. Isabel whispered, "They've come to take him, and anyone who gets in the way." I didn't answer. I opened the door just enough to let the cold air slice through the house, and their faces became visible, masked, dangerous, confident in their training. "You have something that belongs to us," the taller one said. Calm, professional. His eyes flicked to the projection on the wall behind me. Or at least, something he owes. I smiled faintly, calm but lethal. "Everything is here," I said. "Take it, copy it, analyze it, but leave my family alive." The smaller man's gloved hand twitched toward the door, but I didn't flinch. Every step I had taken for the past 48 hours had led here. Every wire, every call, every encrypted message had prepared me for this confrontation. Inside, Jace finally appeared from the shadows, expression drained, panic creeping into his features. "Amaya, don't do this," he pleaded. I ignored him. My focus was on the two men, calculating, ready. Isabel's fingers hovered over the keyboard, ready to send everything, everywhere if things went wrong. The taller man sneered, "You don't know what you're dealing with." I met his gaze, voice steady, unshakable. "I know exactly what I'm dealing with. You came for money, lies, and fear. I built traps from the day I uncovered him. You want it? Take it. But the moment you touch my family, everything you think you control will burn." A tense silence filled the room. Then the smaller man moved, lightning fast, toward Jace. I stepped forward, palm striking his chest with precision, sending him stumbling back. Isabel gasped, but I didn't break eye contact with the taller man. He gritted his teeth, signaling his partner. Jace, frozen in terror, realized too late that he had no protection left. I reached for the laptop and in one fluid motion, hit send on an encrypted drop. Copies of every account, every email, every hidden document went to journalists, the DA, and federal authorities simultaneously. The men froze, their smug control eroding with each notification ping from their devices. "Impossible," the taller one muttered, checking his phone. "Everything's out. How?" I let the words hang, sharp and lethal. Jace's face paled further. He had no allies left, no secrets safe. I stepped closer to him, voice low but unwavering. "This is what happens when you underestimate someone who has nothing to lose but everything to protect." Isabel exhaled, a mixture of relief and fear, but the danger wasn't gone. The SUV outside roared again, engines revving, signaling backup. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed a fire extinguisher, positioning it like a weapon. Every shadow, Every sound became a target. The men assessed me, realizing too late that brute force wouldn't work here. Jace stumbled toward the living room, eyes wide. "You're insane!" he shouted. "You can't win!" I smiled faintly, and in that smile was a calm, lethal certainty. "I already have. You just didn't realize it yet." Suddenly, the front door shattered. Splinters flew. Another figure entered, moving faster than thought. Isabel shrieked, ducking behind the table, but I didn't flinch. Every move I had made, every preparation, every contingency was for this moment. The intruder stopped, frozen mid-step, recognizing that this wasn't a home of victims, but of predators disguised as innocents. Jace tried to plead, tried to bargain, but his words were empty, echoing in a room that had seen too much betrayal to listen. By the time the dust settled, the men had retreated, their arrogance fractured, their control gone. Jace stood trembling, realizing that he had been stripped of power, exposed, and utterly alone. Isabel sank into a chair, exhausted but alive. I walked to the window, gazing at the dark SUV speeding away, headlights disappearing into the night. The house was silent again, but the tension lingered, thick and suffocating. I turned back to Jace, whose eyes were wet, filled with fear and disbelief. "You think this ends here?" he whispered. I shook my head slowly. "No, it doesn't. But now, every step you take will be watched, every move tracked, and every lie documented. You're exposed, completely. And anyone trying to protect you? They've already lost." His lips parted, but no words came. I felt a grim satisfaction, a surge of power I had never known. Outside, the wind carried the faint hum of distant engines, a reminder that danger was never far. But inside, I felt the first taste of victory. Not complete, not absolute, but enough to know that the scales had tipped. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was orchestrating the storm. And when the final move came, it would be devastating. The night was thick, almost tangible, pressing against my skin like a warning. I didn't sleep. Every sound, every faint creak, every whisper of wind outside felt like a countdown. Jace had spent the past week desperate, flailing to regain control, but he didn't understand that control had left his hands the moment I uncovered his web of lies. Isabel and I had meticulously prepared. Every document, every transfer, every hidden account was now a weapon, waiting. By 8 p.m., the family reunion, the one he thought would be his shield, was in full swing. Guests mingled unaware, laughter floating like a fragile veil over the storm brewing inside my home. Jace arrived late, suit crisp, smile forced, his eyes scanning the room like a predator calculating his next prey. He didn't notice the subtle changes. Every table, every seat, every light fixture had been positioned to give me the advantage. I had orchestrated this stage like a master of a deadly play. I approached him calmly, wine glass in hand, smile serene. "Welcome, Jace," I said. "I hope you're hungry. For truth." His jaw clenched. "Amaya, not here. Please, don't—" I didn't let him finish. I gestured toward the projector, which flickered to life, bathing the room in a pale, accusing glow. Screens displayed every email, every transfer, every hidden conversation. Family photos merged with screenshots, evidence of his deceit, turning a celebration into a revelation. Gasps echoed through the room. Isabel moved subtly, sending encrypted copies to federal authorities and investigative journalists. Jace's face went from forced confidence to horror, the smirk replaced by pale terror. He opened his mouth to speak, but his lies had already been broadcast into a world he could no longer control. "Do you see it now?" I said, voice calm but lethal. "Every choice you made, every secret you buried, it's all here. And the people you thought would protect you, they've all lost faith. You're exposed." He tried to laugh, a hollow, desperate sound. "Amaya, you can't—" I cut him off with a cold smile. "I already did. The only question left is how you'll leave this house, with dignity or crawling. Jace's hand trembled as he reached for his phone. I saw the move and anticipated it. Isabel intercepted with a silent gesture. The device went dead before he could send a single message. Panic flickered in his eyes. The men who had come for him before, his allies, were gone, withdrawn. He was alone. Completely alone. Then came the final twist. I revealed the ultimate evidence, a hidden ledger he had thought destroyed, exposing not only financial deceit, but personal betrayals, blackmail, and secret alliances. Every person in the room could now see it. Whispers turned into gasps, eyes widened, and the weight of truth settled on his shoulders like chains. "You built your life on lies," I said, voice resonating with authority. "But tonight, the truth builds a cage around you." He staggered back, shaking, fumbling for excuses, but no one listened. Every ally he thought he had vanished. Even the most loyal staff had been instructed in subtle ways to protect the truth, not him. I walked to the center of the room, standing tall, unshakable. "Jace, you wanted control, you wanted power, but power without respect is nothing, and secrets without consequences are only illusions." He tried to flee, but the doors were locked. The evidence was irreversible. His empire, his reputation, his carefully constructed facade, all crumbling in real time. Guests stood frozen, witnessing the fall of a man who had once commanded fear, now reduced to desperation and shame. Then, with a voice calm enough to chill the air, I delivered the final blow. "You have one choice left. Confess, accept accountability, or face public exposure that will destroy you beyond repair." His lips trembled. Sweat beaded on his forehead. I could see the surrender in his eyes. For the first time, Jace wasn't calculating or plotting. He was cornered, vulnerable, and human. The room held its breath as he fell to his knees, finally admitting every betrayal, every secret affair, every fraudulent maneuver. Silence stretched for a moment, broken only by the soft hum of the projector. Then came the quiet, inevitable relief, the kind only truth can deliver. I turned to my family, Isabel, and the guests, smile soft but triumphant. "This house," I said, voice clear and unwavering, "was never just a home. It was a sanctuary. And no one betrays it without consequence." Jace remained on the floor, broken, exposed. I walked past him, head held high, heels clicking against the polished wood. Outside, the California night was calm, waves crashing softly against the shore, oblivious to human deceit. Inside, justice had been served, not through rage, not through chaos, but with precision, patience, and certainty. I glanced at Isabel, who nodded, exhausted but alive. "It's over," she whispered. I smiled faintly, voice low, almost to myself. "No, it's only the beginning." As I stepped onto the balcony, the Pacific breeze tugged gently at my hair, carrying away the remnants of betrayal. My reflection in the glass shimmered faintly. I was not just free. I was untouchable. And as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, I whispered the last words I knew would haunt him forever. "You thought you controlled everything, but I controlled you all along.